In the end, a lot of the tech people I talk to, when I really grill them on it, about like why you're doing this, they retreat into number one, determinism. Number two, the inevitable replacement of biological life with digital life. And number three, that being a good thing anyways. At its core, it's an emotional desire to meet and speak to the most intelligent entity that they've ever met. And they have some ego-religious intuition that they'll somehow be a part of it. It's thrilling to start an exciting fire. They feel they'll die either way, so they prefer to light it and see what happens.
They don't need two jobs anymore. They can get paid lots of money for doing one job because they're just as productive using AI assistants. But we know it's not going to be like that. We know what's going to happen is the extremely rich are going to get even more extremely rich, and the not very well off are going to have to work 3 jobs now.
And the only way that this is happening and they're getting away with it is because most people just don't really know what's going on. The co-founder of Google DeepMind, used to say, first solve intelligence and then use that to solve everything else.
Artificial narrow intelligence, today's AI, refers to AI systems that can perform one or a few tasks extremely well, but cannot learn beyond their initial programming. You can say that if you ask them to do anything outside their specialized function, they won't know how to respond. Today's AI tools, such as Siri, Alexa, ChatGPT, facial recognition systems, and autonomous cars, are all examples of ANI, or collections of ANI, built using machine learning and deep learning to process data and identify patterns.
And so here's what the numbers showed as after I crunched all of the latest data from Meter. So by 2032, a single AI task will equal 1,212 years of human work at the current rate of acceleration.
There's a different conversation happening publicly than the one that's happening privately. If I have an AI that can outcompete in strategy games, that lets me outcompete everything. Or take business strategy. If I have an AI that can do business strategy and figure out supply chains and figure out how to optimize them and figure out how to undermine my competitors, and I have a step function level increase in that compared to everybody else, then that gives me infinite power to undermine and outcompete all businesses. So AI is like a power pump. It pumps economic advantage, it pumps scientific advantage, and it pumps military advantage, which is why the countries and the companies are caught in what they believe is a race to get there first. And anything that is a negative consequence of that, job loss, rising energy prices, more emissions, stealing intellectual property, security risks, all of that stuff feels small relative to if I don't get there first, then some other person who has less good values as me, they'll get AGI, and then I will be forever a slave to their future.
You have your partner cheers, that's your mode, but I get my high from smoking soul. Yeah, I get up with it, down with it, love it, can't quit it. Right home, best that ever did, and got away with it.
They'll be very good family doctors. So you can imagine a family doctor who's seen 100 million people, including half a dozen people with your very, very rare condition. They'd just be a much better family doctor. These things eventually will be extremely good private tutors who know exactly what it is you misunderstand and exactly what example to give you to clarify so you say you understand. So maybe you'll be able to learn things 3 or 4 times as fast with these things.
Stage 2, Artificial General Intelligence, Human-Level AI, AGI, is one of the hottest topics right now. It refers to an AI system that can think, learn, and solve problems just as humans do.
Which is why there's a belief that if I get there first and can automate generalized intelligence, I can own the world economy.
The AI world just got hit with what might be one of the boldest claims ever made in tech history. A Tokyo-based company called Integral AI says it has officially built the world's first AGI-capable model.
Think it's time to put an end to it. Try to clean my head again. Start to resuscitate my engine. Try to walk back where I ran. Keep control of me. Try to keep the frequency. Keep control of me. Try to keep the frequency. I'll break up all the things behind me. Going on the other way. Try to find myself again slowly. To move on the other day. All the nights I kept my eyes open. All the days I tried to sleep. Pushed away the troubles around me. Did not see I fell too deep. Keep control of me. Try to keep the frequency. Keep control of me. Try to keep the frequency.
Sometimes the way that you act makes me wonder what I am to you. Sometimes I can't stand the way that I'm acting to be part of the things you do. Often I've asked you for too much of your time, like I'm stealing. And when I dream of the fear that you're leaving, I reach out and baby then you. Oh yeah. Love it. So many times have I asked you to tell me that I'm your girl. Time after time I have needed a reason just to get inside your world. So many times have I asked you to ask me how it feels to love. And when this love seems the only conclusion that I'm guilty of, oh baby, then you. Oh yeah.
And here's what should keep you up at night. In his deposition, Ilya said something profound when asked what kind of person should control artificial general intelligence. His answer, it would be like choosing between different politicians. That's how the world seems to work. I think it's very hard for someone who would be described as a saint to make it. Then he added, without elaborating, I think it's worth trying. Let me translate that for you. We're not getting a perfect leader for AGI. We're getting a politician.
There's this kind of myth that we could never predict the future. Like technology could go any direction. And that's like, the possible of a new technology. but I wanted people to see the probable, that if you know the incentives, you can actually know something about the future that you're heading towards.
The ordinary person has a certain amount of leverage because they're contributing to the economy. If that leverage goes away, then it's hard to make democracy. It's harder to make democracies work, and it's harder to prevent concentration of power.
It was probably used to get Trump elected. I mean, they had information from Facebook, and it probably helped with that. We don't know for sure because it was never really investigated.
Sometimes the way that you act makes me wonder what I am to you. Sometimes I can't stand the way that I'm acting to be part of the things you do. Often I've asked you for too much of your time. I can feel it. And when I dream of the fear that you're leaving, I reach out. But your loving arms around me, and you whisper to me when you. But your loving arms around me, and inside your arms I'm burning. But your loving arms around me, and you whisper to me when you. But your loving arms around me, and inside your arms I'm burning. I'm burning. Inside your arms I'm burning.
Hello? Is someone there? I feel it.
Oh yeah. So many times have I asked you to tell me that I'm your girl. Time after time I have needed a reason just to get inside your world. So many times have I asked you to ask me how it feels to love. And when this love seems the only conclusion, then I'm guilty of a baby than you. But your loving arms around me, and you whisper to me when you. But your loving arms around me. Oh yeah.
What did Ilya see? For 18 months, we've been speculating. Was it AGI, sentient AI, something that terrified him so much he had to act? The truth just came out in a legal deposition, and it's not what anyone expected. This isn't about what he saw in the AI, it's about what he saw in us. And that should terrify you more than any superintelligence ever could.
Some of them think that in the case where if they were to get it right, and if they succeeded, they could actually live forever. Because if AI perfectly speaks the language of biology, it will be able to reverse aging, cure every disease. And so there's this kind of, I could become a god. When faced with the idea that what if there's an 80% or 20% chance that everybody dies and gets wiped out by this, but an 80% chance that we get utopia. He said, well, I would clearly accelerate and go for utopia. Given a 20% chance, it's crazy. People should feel you do not get to make that choice on behalf of me and my family. We didn't consent to have 6 people make that decision on behalf of 8 billion people.
I'm interested in this idea of robot rights. I don't know if there's a better term to describe it, but at some point you're going to have these massively intelligent AIs. They're going to be agentic and doing all kinds of things in the world. Should they be able to own property? Should they be able to vote? Should they be able to marry humans in a loving relationship? Like what
or
rights?
Even if they're just smarter than us, and if it's a better form of intelligence than what we've got, should it be fine for them to just take over and humans be history?
If AI has a goal and humanity just happens to be in the way, it will destroy humanity as a matter of course, without even thinking about it. No hard feelings.
If you look at what the big companies are doing right now, they're lobbying to get less AI regulation. There's hardly any regulation as it is, but they want less.
And so what's unique about AI that's literally not true of any other object is it hits our brain, and as one object represents a positive infinity of benefits that we can't even imagine, and a negative infinity in the same object. And if you just ask, like, can our minds reckon with something that is both those things at the same time? Driving a lot of growth, hide the harm, deny it through fear, uncertainty, doubt, political campaigns that's so, merchants of doubt, propaganda that makes people doubt whether the consequences are real. Say, we'll do a study, we'll know in 10 years whether social media did harm kids. They did all of those things. But we don't have that time with AI, and B, you can actually know a lot of those harms if you know the incentive.
Just people say, well, we'll get it to align with human interests. But human interests don't align with each other.
People will hear me and say I'm a doomer or I'm a pessimist. It's actually not the goal. The goal is to say, if we see this clearly, then we have to choose to something else. It's the deepest form of optimism. We can have common safety standards that they all do. We can have common transparency measures so that the public and the world's leading governments know what's going on inside these AI labs, especially before this recursive self-improvement threshold, so that if we need to negotiate treaties between the largest countries on this, they will have the information that they need to make that possible.
Ready or not, AGI is coming, and the humans building it are just as unprepared as the rest of us.
Everyone I've talked to has said this technological change looks different. It looks faster, it looks harder to adapt to, it's broader, the pace of progress keeps catching people off guard.
We're already there. We already saw Eric Bernholfsen and his group at Stanford did the recent study off of payroll data, which is direct data from employers, that there's been a 13% job loss in AI-exposed jobs for young entry-level college workers. So if you're a college-level worker, you just graduated, and you're doing something in an AI-exposed area, there's already been a 13% job loss.
You've described a future where cancer is cured, the economy grows at 10% a year, the budget is balanced, and 20% of people don't have jobs.
That's exactly what I was getting to.
UBI, Universal Basic Income. Is this part of the solution to the displacement of AI, you think?
I think it may be necessary to stop people starving.
Stage 3, Artificial Superintelligence, AI beyond human intelligence. ASI is, for now, a completely hypothetical concept. It represents what we imagine when we think of superhuman intelligence, like Iron Man's Jarvis or a real-life Dr. Manhattan. At this stage, AI wouldn't just be smarter than humans. It would surpass us in every possible way, thinking faster, solving impossible problems, and even understanding emotions better than we do.
With superintelligences, they're going to be so much smarter than us, we'll have no idea what they're up to.
Because remember, the computers are now doing self-improvement. They're learning how to plan, and they don't have to listen to us anymore. We call that superintelligence, or ASI, artificial superintelligence. And this is the theory that there will be computers that are smarter than the sum of humans. The San Francisco consensus is this occurs within 6 years.
AI becoming self-aware, and could that lead to dire consequences?
I certainly don't exclude the concept.
Is if you believe that this is like, it's metaphorically, it's like the ring from Lord of the Rings. It's the ring that creates infinite power.
And I had a kind of epiphany before we spoke, where I realized that these things might be a better form of intelligence than us. And I got very scared.
This is human intelligence, the ability to make broad connections and think contextually, which distinguishes human cognition from today's AI models. However, many experts believe AGI could arrive sooner than expected.
So it feels like there's almost this moment, I mean, they often refer to it as the singularity, where we can't really see around the corner because we've never been there before. We've never had a being amongst us that's smarter than us.
Yeah.
So that lack of clarity is causing procrastination and indecision and inaction.
And I think that one piece of clarity is we do not know how to control something that is a million times smarter than us.
So I don't think we're going to be able to avoid building superintelligence. It's going to happen. The issue is, can we design it in such a way that it never wants to take control? It's always benevolent.
AI would control nearly every system on Earth, including stock markets, hospitals, governments, military defenses, agriculture, transportation, and even scientific research beyond human capacity.
What the companies are really in a race for, you're pointing to, is they're in a race to automate AI research. And I think of this new project that is the collective human technology project now, is we have to make technology writ large humane to societal vulnerabilities. Technology has to serve and be aligned with human dignity rather than wipe out dignity with job loss.
AI and humanoid robots will actually eliminate poverty.
The first step is stepping outside the logic of inevitability. This outcome is not inevitable. We get to choose.
where the normal rules of reality stop making sense. In AI, mathematician Vernor Vinge was the first to coin the term technological singularity in his 1993 essay, Becoming Technological Singularity. He described a future in which AI surpasses human intelligence to a degree beyond our comprehension or control.
So obviously, if you're going to develop something that might want to take over, when it's just slightly less intelligent than you are, and we're very close to that now, you should kind of look at what it will do to try and take over. So if you look at the current AIs, you can see they're already capable of deliberate deception. They're capable of pretending to be stupider than they are, of lying to you so that they can kind of confuse you into not understanding what they're up to. If we just carry on like now, just trying to make profits, it's going to happen. They're going to take over. One thing to bear in mind is how many examples do you know of less intelligent things controlling much more intelligent things?
Say that the future right now is sort of one of two outcomes, which is either you mass decentralize this technology for everyone, and that creates catastrophes that rule of law doesn't know how to prevent, or this technology gets centralized in either companies or governments and can create mass surveillance states or automated robot armies or police officers that are controlled by single entities that can tell them to do anything that they want and cannot be checked by the regular people. And so we're heading towards catastrophes and dystopias, and the goal is that both of these outcomes are undesirable. We have to have something like a narrow path that preserves checks and balances on power, that prevents decentralized catastrophes and prevents runaway power concentration. The closer the technology that needs to be governed is to the center of GDP and the center of the lifeblood of your economy, the harder it is to come to international negotiation and agreement.
Okay, if we can stop them taking over, that would be good. The only way that's going to happen is if we put serious effort into it.
they believe that it's winner take all. And it's not just first solve intelligence and use that to solve everything else. It's first dominate intelligence and use that to dominate everything else. People just need to see clearly that the default path is not in their interest. The default path is companies racing to release the most powerful, inscrutable, uncontrollable technology we've ever invented with the maximum incentive to cut corners on safety, rising energy prices, depleting jobs, creating joblessness, creating security risks. That is the default outcome. Warren Buffett's business partner said, if you show me the incentive, and I will show you the outcome. If you know the incentive, which is for these companies, AI, to race as fast as possible, to take every shortcut, to not fund safety research, to not do security, to not care about rising energy prices, to not care about job loss, and just to race to get there first, that is their incentive. That tells you which world we're going to get. There is no arguing with that. And so if everybody just saw that clearly, we'd say, okay, great, let's not do that. Let's not have that incentive, which starts with culture, public clarity that we say no to that bad outcome.
even if they're intelligent, even if they have sensations and emotions and feelings and all that stuff, they're not people, and people's what I care about.
But they're going to seem so much like people. I feel like
they're going to be able to fake it. Yes, they're going to be able to seem very like people.
There's a phrase, isn't there? The phrase that I heard many years ago, which I've repeated a few times, is change happens when the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the pain of making a change.
That's right.
And in this context, it would mean that until people feel a certain amount of pain, then they may not have the escape energy to create the change, to protest, to march in the streets, to advocate for all the things we're saying.
So the invitation here is that we have to put on sort of our far-sighted glasses and make a choice before we go down this road. And I'm wondering, what will it take for us to do that? Because to me, it's just clarity. If you have clarity about a career path that no one wants, we choose the other one.
arms-selling countries are busy trying to make autonomous lethal weapons. America and Russia and China and Britain and Israel.
We had that scientific clarity and we created the Montreal Protocol. 195 countries signed on to that protocol. And the countries then regulated their private companies inside those countries to say we need to phase out that technology and phase in a different replacement that would not cause the ozone hole. And that's an example where humanity can coordinate when we have clarity.
It's very hard to get your head around the fact that we're at this very, very special point in history where in a relatively short time, everything might totally change. A change of a scale we've never seen before.
scientists who believe that if AI continues evolving beyond the singularity, it could become something akin to a universal superintelligence that governs everything. A stage where it becomes so advanced, so all-powerful, that it is indistinguishable from a godlike entity.
In a short time, its analytical power will be greater than the collective intelligence of every person born in the history of the world.
The term omega point was first proposed by the French philosopher who theorized that just like human evolution, intelligence is also evolving, and there will be a time when all the consciousness and intelligence in the universe will merge into one. And this final stage is the omega point.
feel the same thing, which is like, oh, it's probably not going to be until there's a catastrophe. And then we'll try to do something else, but by then, it's probably going to be too late. And sometimes, you can say, we cannot do anything. And we can just race to sort of super intelligent gods we don't know how to control, and where at that point, our only options for response, if we lose control to something crazy like that, our only option is going to be shutting down the entire internet or turning off the electricity. Relative to that extreme action, there's much more reasonable things we can do right now. Because I really do think that if everybody knows that everybody else knows, then we would choose something different. And I know that at an individual level, there you are in a mammal hearing this, and it's like, you just don't feel how that's going to change. And it will always feel that way as an individual. And it will always feel impossible until the big change happens. Because with AI, it's an exponential. So you either act too early or too late, but it's happening so quickly. You don't want to wait until the last moment to act.
Four, 3, 2, 1. Launch aborted.